Now, the death of Ruth Bader Ginsburg has led to some divisive reactions from a lot of right-leaning figures. But I'm very happy to say that I did not see anyone in my feed who was hinging their bets on Tucker Carlson coming out against whatever Trump would approve for the SCOTUS or put forward for the SCOTUS. However,
as you know, Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg died last Friday. She passed away of cancer. It was a sad moment because death is always sad, no matter who dies. Death is coming for all of us someday. For that reason, we ought to mark.
Thank you, Tucker. That's a very normal way of opening a news segment. It's a very death is very sad. It happens to everyone. Wink.
A person's passing with a bow of respect. Take a moment for humility and perspective. Meditate on the fragility of our own lives and the lives of those we love. Remember that death is the one thing that unites every human being.
Oh.
No matter how powerful we imagine we are, at some point, we will be gone.
Wait.
All of us.
Wait, I hadn't watched this. Is this just a referendum on an existential crisis that he's having right now?
In our case, we almost never agreed with Justice Ginsburg's decisions, but on Friday night's show, we did our best to show some reverence, because that's the right thing to do. The left, by contrast, made no attempt at all. Prominent progressives immediately descended into hysteria and rage, unbridled rage. They told us that Ruth Bader Ginsburg's death was more than sad. They said it was a national crisis that imperiled this country's freedoms. Ruth Bader...
Wait, hold on. What contradiction is there between being reverent following the death of a prominent figure and also saying that their death throws this country into crisis? Wait, what's the inconsistency there? He was like, but the progressive left hasn't demonstrated reverence, but there's no contradiction there. You can do both those things.
Bader Ginsburg, they told us, single-handedly kept America from descending into fascism and tyranny.
I mean,
now that she's gone, only her words can keep us safe. That's an odd claim if you think about it. This is supposed to be a democracy.
What?
No one ever voted for Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
Wait.
No matter how much you liked her or agreed with her, she was, in the end, a single judge in a country of 350 million people.
Wait, what the fuck point is that? Wait, this isn't an argument against Ruth Bader Ginsburg being a stalwart, blockade against encroaching fascism. This is just an argument against the Supreme Court. What are you talking about? Oh, okay, you don't care that much about unelected Supreme Court justices? Then maybe Trump shouldn't be appointing one. Wait, what the fuck are you arguing about? This is the most pathetic attempt at I don't have an argument, so I'm going to point and imagine hypocrisy that I have seen in a while. Where's the fucking hypocrisy? They said that she was important, but we live in a democracy, so that's not right. What?
She was not God.
What?
Yet according to the left, Ginsburg was all we had. We must obey her dying words as if they were a religious text.
Wait, no. We just agree with her dying words. Her dying words were that she didn't want her seat to be filled until the next presidential election took place, until after. This is like the weirdest fucking attempt at hyperbolizing, like, and they obey her words as though it was carved on stone by a deity. No, they just agree with what she said. That's it. You okay, Tucker? Carl?
Her final wish supersedes our founding documents.
What
would Ruth Bader Ginsburg do? We must ask ourselves that, and then do it. Watch.
You see, the liberals, when they saw Ruth Bader Ginsburg's final request transcribed, they reacted with such fervent, over-the-top zealotry that they would murder their own children if RBG had asked them to. In fact, I can say with unrelenting confidence that the only reason we are not currently living in a bombed-out hellscape of formerly known as America is because RBG did not specifically include instructions for hacking and releasing America's nuclear missile arsenal at itself.
As a nation, we should heed her final call to us, not as a personal service to her, but as a service to the country, our country, at a crossroads.
honor her last words that she not be replaced until a new president is installed.
She said, "My most fervent wish is that I will not be replaced until a new president is installed."
By the way, the funniest thing to come out of this entire bit is that after RBG died and her words were publicized, Trump was asked about them, and Trump said maybe it was Pelosi who wrote them, that it was forged. He made it. He was like, I don't know. Maybe that was Pelosi actually, even though it was her daughter who transcribed it.
We believe that.
Her fervent wish is that the next president pick. That was the
Didn't think
last
I'd be seeing
thing
Claude
she
today?
said
Okay.
to the public.
We know who this man is.
There we go. That's better.
We know who this man is. This is a man who does not care about a dying woman's final wish. Clearly.
So turn down the volume and consider for a moment the reasoning here, the argument that they're making. Nothing is more important than our...
Tucker, that was audio balance. That was the exact same audio as your... AOC was just as loud as you. Is this like a shrill female comment? Like a hysterical woman? There, you were the exact same volume.
Constitution. That Constitution is in grave jeopardy. That's why we must substitute an 87-year-old woman's final wish for the constitutionally prescribed process for filling a Supreme Court seat.
He says this unironically while he defended the Republican Senate not even holding a vote on Republican SCOTUS appointees for an entire year. This is the thing. Again, people will say this is inconsistent. So Tucker Carlson 4 years ago was talking about how a lame duck president like Barack Obama couldn't possibly be expected to uphold, the responsibility of choosing a new Supreme Court justice, that the next election should be a referendum on how that seat is filled. And he defended that for an entire fucking year. The time that it took for them to fill that Supreme Court seat was, I think, 4 times as long as the previous record for a Supreme Court appointee being filled, with no constitutional precedent, no legal precedent. They just did that. Vosh, you really surprised they're being inconsistent? No, I am proud of them for their consistency. I am proud of them for taking the fucking stand that Democrats never will. Okay? I'm so proud because it takes real fucking, just giant fucking cojones, okay? To be able to lie this confidently. It really, really does. Yeah, so the only people here who actually advocated for superseding the constitutional, responsibilities of the Senate were the Republicans back in 2016. The only thing the Democrats are trying to do now is uphold like one quarter of that standard to ensure this upcoming election really is a referendum on the Supreme Court justice appointee. Now, mind you, it's not going to happen. The Republicans are going to throw somebody in probably in like a week, maybe even less than a week. They're going to get them in there real quick, okay? All of this is political theater.
That's what they're arguing. Got that? Pretty amusing. Keep in mind, we don't really know, actually.
Pretty amusing.
What Ruth Bader Ginsburg's final words were. Did she really leave this world fretting about a presidential election? We don't believe that.
What?
For a second. If it were true, it would...
Wait, what? Now he's doing it. Wait, are you saying it's forged? Wait, she was a Supreme Court justice. Why wouldn't she be thinking about the presidential election? What the fuck are you talking about? Guys, this is the most watched news host in the history of American television right here. What the fuck are you talking about right now? She was a Supreme Court justice. Why wouldn't she be thinking about the election? She knows what her death means.
Be pathetic. Because life is bigger than politics, even this year.
What?
We wouldn't wish final words that small on anyone. So we're going to, again, choose to believe.
As small as a Supreme Court justice appointment? Life is politics.
That Ruth Bader Ginsburg didn't really say that in real life, she was thinking at the end about her family and where she might be going next. Human concerns, not partisan ones.
This is brilliant, actually. This is such a great move. So in one stroke, he gets to A, completely baselessly lie about the legitimacy of RBG's final words. B, now anytime liberals talk about her final words, Trump will call them callous for cheapening the humanity of RBG's death by lying about it being about politics, when in actuality, the last thing she said was probably, "I love you, my granddaughter," or something like that. That's very effective. You can actually lie, and then you can morally posture for the people telling the truth. It's very good.
But in practical terms, it's irrelevant what she said. Ruth Bader Ginsburg does.
Except you took very great care to indicate you don't believe the recognized final words, so clearly it matters to you.
Doesn't get to pick her replacement from her deathbed. That's not how it works.
She didn't try to pick her replacement.
We have a constitution we're supposed to be defending, remember? And that's the whole point of the Constitution. If Justice Scalia had said something like that, nobody would have cared. We would have been embarrassed for him.
But you ended up doing it anyway. Scalia didn't even need to do that for the Republicans to then, towards the end of Obama's presidency, hold off for an entire year on holding a vote on any of the Supreme Court justice appointees. Like, first of all, let's be real here, okay? First of all, if any conservative Supreme Court justice died and they said, I want my replacement to be chosen by a Republican, and we were living in a time with a Democratic president and a Democratic Senate, the Republican Party would be throwing fucking Molotov cocktails at government offices if the Democrats went ahead and appointed a blue Supreme Court justice, okay? First of all, the idea that conservatives will exercise any restraint whatsoever is a fucking joke. No, they will not. Absolutely not, okay? It could be 8 years running blue in every fucking house and the presidency, and they will still cry and bitch and moan about a Supreme Court appointee. They will talk about it being the death of the country. They will talk about the Democrats having no honor and no wish to regard the final words of a dying man. They have no shame whatsoever, okay? Absolutely none. But again, all of this is consistent because the only goal of the Republican Party is to acquire and to wield as much power as humanly possible. And all of this fits that agenda beautifully. People who watch Fox News have essentially had their fucking their fucking frontal lobe carved out with an ice cream scoop. They'll accept anything they're told by this station. So we now have tens of millions of people who are A, convinced that RBG's final words were a lie, and B, that the Republicans are trying to prevent the Democrats from changing the Constitution by doing the thing the Republicans did 4 years ago.
Thankfully, he didn't say that. On some level, Democrats know all this. All this talk about Ginsburg's dying wish is ridiculous and insulting to all of us and our country.
See, he's already doing it. Lie about the final words, then morally posture over people telling the truth.
And they'll stop soon. Democrats have an alternative argument at the ready, and it's one they've been honing all year. It goes like this: do what we want, or we will hurt you. That's the real argument they're making.
I fucking wish, dude. I saw this tweet. I fucking wish, dude. I wish Democrats were even a tenth as spiteful and vindictive as Republicans were. Holy shit. Pelosi went on the news and she was like, well, I think everyone should get out there and vote. And we have some tools in our bag, but I'm not going to talk about them right now. And then the Democrats have systemically eliminated all of the things they could conceivably do, like stacking the court. The Democrats have already talked about it. They've already indicated how passive they are.
Reza Aslan, a longtime CNN employee, wrote this in the hours after Ginsburg died. Quote, "If they even try to replace RBG, we burn the entire effing thing down."
Effing thing.
That effing thing being our country that we built.
Damn.
On Friday night, another Democrat tweeted instructions for how to begin that process. Quote, "We're now walking to Mitch McConnell's house to protest."
And?
More than 120,000 people liked that post, shockingly.
Wait, then why not show the tweet with the likes and the retweets down there? Why not just take the picture? Anyway, wait, what's the problem with that? He's insinuating there's some sort of relationship between this and the burn it all down comment, but those are two separate tweets. Is he implying this is like a quote tweet of the other one?
The follow-up came a few minutes later. Quote, "His house is entirely dark, significant police presence out front. It's not clear that he's here. It's clear that he's not here, as confirmed by a neighbor who is not fond of him. People are going home."
Wow.
That's not a protest. That's a threat.
Wow. Oh, wow. Dude, the Democrats are on the cusp of burning it all down. They sent 4 people to sit outside an empty house. Well, how can you... Again, this is fascism at its core, an inability to accurately describe the threat of your opposition. Literally goes right from, the Democrats are losing their fucking mind, they're going to burn the country down for our attempts to try to uphold the Constitution. And then we get, like, shaky video cam footage of 4, like, old people standing outside a house, like, not even saying anything, just, like, just standing there with signs, you know? But to the average, like, suburban white person who watches Fox News, what they're watching right now, this is like Mad Max to them. This is like Escape from New York, you know. These 4 people standing outside Mitch McConnell's house. I mean, these may well be the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse coming down to, you know, reap from our fields civilization and all we know that is good and fine. They have no fucking idea how to accurately assess the threat of the stuff that they are up against. And that's why, by the way, the Fox News channel is a 24/7 fear-mongering propaganda outlet. Because if you keep the idiot Republicans in a perpetual state of fear, you can convince them that even the most milquetoast, empty demonstrations of Democrats are a legitimate threat to this country. I fucking wish.
The point of it was to terrorize Mitch McConnell and his family. McConnell knew it was coming because that's how things seem to work now. The police guarding his house are probably the only reason it's still standing.
Yeah, very nice conjecture on that one. They send like 1 cop over there to make sure things don't get too rowdy. If they hadn't sent that cop over, there's no telling, the entire neighborhood, nay, the city, might have been burnt down to the ground. Like, Jesus fuck. There we go. There we go. Damn, dude. Look at these Antifa militants. Vote them out. Damn, that's an incredibly threatening gesture right there. The Democrats terrorizing Senator Mitch McConnell. Vote. Everybody vote. That's the farthest Democrats can go.
I don't want you guys to get hit. So, okay, well, you can make assumptions all day long. We're going to back this
and doing cute musical parodies. See, this is what Republicans are quivering in fear of every night. Republicans are laying under their fucking weighted blankets, like just quaking with fear that one day, like 10 Democrats are going to show up outside of their door, and start screaming like a politicized remix of a 1990s like a pop single, you know?
We shouldn't be surprised by that. It was just last year that another group of Democrats gathered outside Mitch McConnell's home chanting death threats. It was all on video. We put up with it, of course, so it's happened again.
Where are the death threats?
Get what you put up with. That's true of children, it's true of countries. And we're putting up with this, so we shouldn't be surprised. Who's doing it? Well, Trump voters are fascists, they tell us. But when was the last time Trump voters threatened Democratic politicians in their home? It's hard to recall that happening. No. The tactics are always the same, and it's always the same people doing it. Then in case Mitch McConnell...
I'm pretty sure that prominent Democrats have protests held at their houses all the fucking time, and they get infinitely more death threats. Yeah, bombs have been sent to Obama, like, and other people. Yeah. Like, actual legitimate attempts on their life. Do you have any fucking idea how many death threats Ilhan Omar gets? Ilhan Omar probably gets more death threats than every other fucking Republican combined. Like, yeah, Ilhan Omar, like, single-handedly is like a magnet for those death threats. Yeah, Trump voters will do fucking armed demonstrations. They've seized courthouses. The idea that there is any parallel here, but again, they don't care. You know, they don't care.
Didn't get the message, Biden voters assembled at the home of Senator Lindsey Graham. Graham chairs the Senate Judiciary Committee. They wanted to honor Ruth Bader Ginsburg's dying wish by making sure that Graham was intimidated. Watch.
Okay. I love the, again, it's the, oh, you know what this reminds me of? This reminds me a lot of Martin Luther King Jr., you know? Now they're doing like the posturing thing. The, wow. I thought Black Lives Matter protesters were supposed to be following in the footsteps of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., but all you've shown me is that you really are just a bunch of thugs. I swear I've seen like 28,000 Facebook posts screen capped to that effect, essentially. And it's like people who are on the right who are pretending they agree with the sentiment of revered figures so they can morally condemn people who are only tangentially related to the figure in question, you know? Weren't there multiple foiled assassination attempts in Obama's life? Yeah, but of course, he's the president, you know? Well, he was.
These aren't spontaneous demonstrations. No, of course not. They're organized on social media, and they're happening for a reason.
Wait. All protests are organized on social media. Wait, what do you mean organized? Like, I know it's a spooky word, but like, yeah, of course, yeah, you like tweet something. It's not, there's a big difference between organized, like, hey, who wants to do X, and organized, like, we're being paid by Soros. It's a very strange, it's a weird distinction. These people didn't all just randomly stumble across Lindsey Graham's house while walking their dogs. There was a coordinated effort to show up here at a particular point in time. Like, all right.
The Democratic Party has encouraged this extremism over and over and over again.
How?
Nightly, we tell you about it.
How?
But it never ends. It gets worse.
Wait, how?
Last night, the Senate Majority Leader, Chuck Schumer of New York, held a press conference targeting Mitch McConnell by name. Hard to imagine that, but it happened.
Wait. What do you mean targeting by name? Like, he said his name? What do you mean targeting by name? What does that mean?
And Schumer invited Sandy Cortez, a first-term congresswoman from the Bronx. Here's what they said.
If you want to get back at Mitch McConnell's blatant, nasty hypocrisy, call your senator and tell them not to listen to Mitch McConnell, not to be afraid of Mitch McConnell.
And to Mitch...
That's it? Just call your senator? Dude, the Republican boomers are fucking terrified. They're shitting in their pants as they watch this. Yeah, that's too far, guys. This is basically terrorism. Yeah. I'm sorry, I gotta take a second. My heart rate's going too far. It's too spooky for me. It's like a horror movie, but it's way worse because it's real. That he said you should call your senator and tell them not to listen to Mitch McConnell, Senate Majority Leader? They said that? Holy fuck.
McConnell, we need to tell him that he is playing with fire.
Damn. A common expression used to indicate that people need to calm down before they overexert their power? Power that he possesses as Senate Majority Leader? No mentions whatsoever to protests showing up at his door? No mentions whatsoever to direct action?
We need to tell him that he is playing with fire. Really? That's a threat.
These people are such pussies. They're such pussies. It's incredible how soft they... Holy fuck. I can't imagine how much money you would have to pay me to pretend to be afraid of the shit that Fox News has to pretend to be afraid of, dude. Holy shit. Like, what exactly could AOC say that wouldn't be interpreted in that way, you know? We're gonna take back the Senate. As you can see here, AOC advocating they take the Senate by force, storming the building and slaughtering Republican senators until they can use their unelected cronies to appoint new ones during the interim government as they enact the revolution. Like, you could say anything. Like, they'll take anything. Playing with fire? You fucking kidding me? So when my mom told me I was playing with fire when I was 4 years old and I was trying to carry both my birthday cake and like 3 cups of water to the fucking Chuck E. Cheese birthday party, that I was playing with fire, that's my mom threatening me? Like I'm trying to like fucking Death Stranding balance all this shit and not stumble in one direction or another. That was my mom. Like, she had the Glock like fucking loaded up, ready to take me out.
And on Instagram, Sandy Cortez, America's most pampered revolutionary, went ahead and...
Wait, hold on. Remember when conservatives put crosshairs on Democrats and one of them got shot? Yeah, wasn't that literally a part of, fuck, what was her name? The lipstick on a pig lady? Sarah Palin, yeah. Didn't Sarah Palin put out like a list of like bad Democrats and all of them had fucking crosshairs over them?
Suggested the threat. And on Instagram, Sandy Cortez, America's most pampered revolutionary, went ahead and suggested that Democrats go further, maybe even embrace violence. Watch.
Wait. If she's going further by saying Democrats should embrace violence, doesn't that indicate the previous clips you've shown aren't advocacy for violence? Wait, you just said that's a threat, but now you're like, they go even further. They even make a threat. Like, wait, then what was the previous shit you were trying to sell to me as? What was that?
Let this moment radicalize you. We need to focus on voting for Joe Biden. I don't care if you like him or not. This is not over. You know, we win in November. I'm sorry to tell you, you're not going back to brunch. We're not going back to brunch. That's not happening.
True.
We're not.
You're kidding me. That's it? That's it. That's it. We're not going back to brunch, huh? Ah, so you're continuing in your efforts to plant C4 charges at the base of skyscrapers in multiple American metropolises. What are you talking about? How is this a threat?
Going back to brunch. So now you know what a freshman member of Congress was doing standing at the podium with the most powerful Democrat in the Senate.
How?
Why would he choose Sandy Cortez?
I don't know why he keeps calling her Sandy Cortez. I don't know if it's supposed to be like a neg or something, but I don't think Sandy Cortez sounds any worse than AOC. Oh, I get what it is. Tucker Carlson has a bunch of money in cafes. So he's mad that she's going to discourage millennials from going back to brunch. Millennials are killing the brunch industry. It's violence against his stock portfolio. I have no idea what the fuck he's going on about here. How the fuck is that advocating violence?
Well, because Sandy Cortez doesn't simply represent a congressional district. She doesn't do that very well. No, her real role is as commander of the youth wing of the Democratic Party.
I mean, she blew the fucking house down in her re-election just like a little while ago, like a month ago. So clearly, more so than she did back in 2018. So clearly, she has captured the interest and the attention of her district.
The Direct Action Wing. The thugs who have spent the last 3.5 months burning and destroying, in some cases killing, on behalf, effectively, of the Joe Biden for President campaign.
Yes, the Black Lives Matter rioters, very known for their high opinion of Joe Biden. I wonder what they would have done. I wonder what they would have done if Bernie Sanders was the primary nominee. Like, would they have done, like, the Comrade Sanders leading his revolutionary shit? Like, I wonder how far that would have gone, you know?
Cortez and her followers use these tactics for one simple reason. You know why?
Cortez and her followers. Yeah, dude, can't you see all those Antifa dudes? They've got badges of AOC's face right there on their fucking shoulder.
Because they work. This summer, a bar owner in Omaha called Jake Gardner was attacked during a BLM riot there. A man called James Spurlock jumped on Gardner's back and put him in a chokehold. Gardner shot Spurlock in order to save his own life. It was clearly self-defense, and that's what prosecutors concluded. But then Biden voters took direct action. They took to the streets. What does that mean exactly? Well, in this case, it means they gathered outside the home of Douglas County Attorney Don Klein, and they threatened him. Their presence was a threat. And guess what? It worked. Last week, Gardner was charged with manslaughter.
Damn. Hey, look at that, guys. Hey, you heard it from the horse's mouth. His framing here, of course, is extremely inaccurate. But yeah, hey, look at that. Tucker Carlson giving us the steps. It turns out that local political officials are way less capable of getting away with their bullshit if you actually protest. Direct action makes Republicans scared. Every time you watch these segments, they're telling you what they're afraid of, by the way. They're letting you know what they don't want you to do.
This weekend, Gardner killed himself.
Damn.
See how that works? Do you want to
Whoa! Hold on there, bucko. If he was, as you say, to be vindicated by the law, why would he kill himself? killing yourself to escape charges? Is that really the type of person you're going to defend? Just because he's been charged with manslaughter, if you claim that he is legitimate self-defense case, see, guys, remember, here's quick lesson right here. Self-defense is a defense that you can provide for your actions if you are, in fact, responsible for having committed those actions, you know? If you have a legitimate claim to self-defense and you're taken to court off manslaughter, first degree, whatever, you can prove it in the affirmative that you engaged in self-defense. But it's something that you can only do if you've been charged. So for Tucker Carlson to say he had a legitimate case for self-defense before any charges had any been levied, and then the guy kills himself before he goes to court, well, that's weird, right? I mean, certainly it casts a little bit of curiosity with how honest Tucker Carlson is being in the legitimacy of the self-defense claim that he could conceivably use. I'm not saying, of course, that killing yourself to avoid charges means you're guilty. I want everyone to see their fair day in trial if it's warranted. But for Tucker Carlson to make this out as like a direct product of Antifa forced him to kill himself or something, that's ridiculous. So what, we should never ever allow charges to be placed on anyone? They should never have to survive the scrutiny of a jury while making their case for self-defense, because if we're doing that, we're responsible if they kill themselves because they'd rather not face the charges? Weird precedent to set. Read this, Tucker isn't even accurately characterizing the story. Yeah, hold on. Here we go. Shut up. The far right gives Jake Gardner the Kyle Rittenhouse hero treatment. The same crowd that lionized the teen accused of murdering two in Kenosha latched onto the death by suicide of a white bar owner charged in the death of a black man in Omaha. 4 people are dead, 1 criminal trial is pending, while a second will never take place. And amid all that death and uncertainty, the 2 shooters at the heart of the incidents are enjoying spectacular martyr status on the right. Ah, look at that, as we move in here from a Tucker segment where they are indeed enjoying spectacular martyr status. Jake Gardner, an Omaha, Nebraska bar owner, ooh, interesting, shot and killed a black man during a local BLM protest and died of suicide this week, according to his lawyer. This just days after Gardner was indicted for alleged manslaughter, use of a firearm in commission of a felony, attempted first-degree assault, and terroristic threats in connection with that incident. As news of Gardner's death broke, right-wing commentators were quick to valorize him as the victim of leftist run amok. It's the same playbook many on the far right, up to and including the President of the United States, employed in defense of Kyle Rittenhouse. These tropes of righteous violence and lawlessness are hardly new, said Michael Pfeiffer. That is true, by the way. This is also how they defended the actions of the Ku Klux Klan back in the day. The idea that following the abolition of slavery, that race relations were too heated, that the blacks were getting too uppity, and the KKK were a necessary force needed to preserve civilization through vigilante justice. This is by no means an old trope. Details around Gardner's killing remain murky, bound up in hotly contested cell phone footage and court documents that might never see the light of day. A minute-long conversation caught on video shows Gardner and his father standing outside one of Gardner's bars on May 30th after unknown persons broke one of the bar windows. The sometimes chaotic footage appears to show the elder Gardner shoving a protester shoving him back, Jake Gardner flashing a gun and firing shots, Skirtner jumping on his back, and Gardner shooting Scurlock in the chest. If this is actually the way in which the events transpired, with the older man shoving a protester, then getting shoved back, and then Jake Gardner fires shots out of his gun, that'd be a very difficult self-defense claim. You know, you can't watch your friend shove a person and then get shoved back and then unload fucking 20 rounds into the person who shoved second. You know, assuming this characterization is accurate. A local prosecutor initially declined to charge Gardner, characterizing the shooting as an act of self-defense. Again, that would be ridiculous, assuming this characterization is accurate. The decision sparked outrage, with some locals accusing Gardner of harboring racist sentiments. Former colleagues, friends, and patrons accused him of discriminating against black customers or using the N-word in conversation. Wow, what a shocker. With one former black employee telling Yahoo News that Gardner had become violent with him during a dispute over pay and answering, "I might be," when asked if he was racist. Neither Gardner nor his attorneys responded to those allegations. Last week, a grand jury overturned the local prosecutor's decision not to press charges against Gardner, and a special prosecutor announced that the jury had decided to indict Gardner based on evidence from his phone, his Facebook account, and footage from inside the bar. The special prosecutor announced that there is evidence that undermines his self-defense claim, and that evidence primarily comes from Jake Gardner himself. Interesting. I see. So it wasn't the local prosecutor changing his mind. It was a grand jury overturning that decision. Interesting. So this isn't a case of far-left Antifa militant, neo-Nazi, fascist, communist terrorists superseding the rule of law. But actually, it may well be an incredibly suspect local prosecutor's decision that ended up being challenged by a higher court. Well, now that Gardner's dead, all this information is probably not going to come fully to light. But again, if that characterization is accurate, then yeah, that kind of speaks for itself. Whatever the case may be, as a general rule, when people like Tucker Carlson are lionizing some a given political event, or some given political, incident, particularly one involving martyrdom, it's usually reasonable to assume that they're wrong or lying.
Live in a country like that? Megan Hunt does. Megan Hunt is a state senator from Omaha. She is glad Jake Gardner is dead. Megan Hunt congratulated the mob on Twitter for pushing Jake Gardner to suicide.
Really? Did she actually say that? That's very interesting. That's a very strong claim, Tucker. I'm going to need some direct evidence that she actually did the thing you just said.
Hunt encouraged them to do it to others. As Hunt wrote,
the indictment of Jake Gardner would never have happened without the community of the people who stood up for justice and demanded action from city officials. Jake Gardner is gone, but the white supremacist attitudes that emboldened him are still with us today. Interesting. Wow, that has nothing to do with praising people for driving him to suicide. Also, again, what pussy-ass fucking snowflake bullshit is this? Where if a person commits suicide to avoid charges, that's the fault of the people who were protesting the initial local prosecutor's decision to not indict. Probably not. No. There's nothing wrong with this tweet.
On Twitter, and we're quoting, Jake Gardner is gone, but the white supremacist attitudes that emboldened him are still with us today.
True.
End quote. In other words, you know what to do.
That's not how that works. What? Wait, what? What winking is taking place there? Like what? Wink? Like wink? Like no? What is being winked? You know what to do. I don't know. I haven't gotten my most recent updated Antifa code sheet. I don't actually know what that indicates.
This should terrify you. Democratic leaders have decided that everything is allowed in pursuit of power. Nothing is off limits.
Like, so we've seen people say you need to get out there and vote. We've seen some people protesting outside of empty houses. And we saw a grand jury overturn a local prosecutor's decision not to indict or not to charge. That's what we've seen.
Give us what we want, or we will hurt you. In terms Nancy Pelosi can understand, that means maybe another impeachment.
Some have mentioned the possibility, if they try to push through a nominee in a lame duck session, that you and the House could move to impeach President Trump or Attorney General Barr as a way of stalling and preventing the Senate from acting on this nomination.
Well, we have our options. We have arrows in our quiver that I'm not about to discuss right now.
Oh, impeach the president for what? For following the Constitution's letter. For doing...
First of all, she's not going to do shit. So first of all, that clip didn't even have her saying she was going to impeach. She never said that. I don't know why you keep showing these clips that don't indicate the thing you're implying they say. It's not. Now, you can re-impeach. That is also a constitutionally delegated authority if it's, if it's to be used. But additionally, like, I don't know, dude, just how much of a fucking beta do you have to be? How much of a beta do you have to be to look at fucking Pelosi and be afraid. Pelosi. I can't imagine it. I can't imagine it.
What the Constitution tells presidents to do when there's a Supreme Court vacancy. Could that really?
Yeah, it also tells the Senate what to do, and it sure didn't keep the Republicans back during Obama's presidency from not even holding a fucking vote on all of the Supreme Court justices that he put on the table. That was the Senate openly and belligerently engaging in dereliction of their duties, and nobody seemed to give a fuck back then.
Really happen? What would the trial look like? We accuse you of following the law? Probably not going to happen. Pelosi knows that. That's why she's got other arrows in the quiver, as she said. One of those arrows is direct force. On Saturday, California Governor Gavin Newsom's chief of staff tweeted this, quote, "I am ready to fly to D.C. in the middle of COVID-19 and lay my body on the floor of the United States Senate to prevent a vote from occurring before the next term of Congress."
How is this force? Why does he keep saying things and then showing media that doesn't say the stuff that he says it said? This isn't force. You would need to find a tweet where they're like, "I will go down there and I will personally inflict cock and ball torture on every Republican senator until they're no longer able to vote because their voices will be too high pitched." Why would you show this? Like, this is just a form of protest. Like, this is basically just a filibuster except more pretentious. Why are you acting like this is a physical threat? He's saying he's gonna lay. How unbelievably non-threatening is the phrase "lay my body on the floor of the Senate to prevent a vote"? Like, that is the most flaccid fucking, that is the least violent phrase I have ever heard in my life, okay?
End quote. If she did that, many would join her, and maybe they'll do it. Maybe they'll come to Washington and physically prevent lawmakers from voting. That's never happened before in the history of our country. It could happen.
It's the same as a filibuster. You guys did it for... Okay.
Happen now. People are calling for it. Does that seem like extremism to you? Yeah. But if it does, keep in mind, you're the extremist. You're the one who's willing to do anything for power, including use force.
True.
Here's Hillary Clinton neatly explaining that her sins are in fact your sins.
What's happening in our country is incredibly dangerous. Our institutions are being basically undermined by the lust for power for personal gain in the case of the president, or power for institutional gain in the case of Mitch McConnell.
Okay, so if you're following at home, just want to be clear on how this works. Democrats are so worried about your attempts to undermine our institutions that they, in the end, may have to burn those institutions down.
I mean, that's how it works, yeah. If one party obstructs action to the point where the system they're using is no longer functional, then yeah, you have to circumnavigate them, yeah. If you engage in dereliction of your responsibilities, then there's a responsibility of the other branches of government to work in spite of that. That's a good face, by the way. That's a good face. Yeah, can you imagine how brain poisoned somebody who listens to this guy for 2 hours a day every single day is? Like, can you imagine how much damage that does to the average boomer's brain? You know? Tucker Carlson seems to me like the type of guy who was maybe smart enough to, like, not get on Epstein's Island, but maybe, like, another less-known pedophile cabal island. So I can't wait for whatever scandal that's inevitably going to lead to him getting kicked from Fox News to actually take place, you know? It took quite a bit for Bill O'Reilly to get out of there, but, you know, eventually. Oh, by the way, because everyone wants to see it, this is also from that same Pelosi interview. Please watch and feel threatened. Feel as afraid as the Republican boomers do.
On Friday, I started there early for voting, the day that we lost Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
But to be clear, you're not taking any arrows out of your quiver. You're not ruling anything out.
Good morning. Sunday morning. We have a responsibility. We take an oath to protect and defend the Constitution of the United States. On Friday.
Yeah, that's a .exe has crashed moment right there for sure. Whew. Yeah, just Just on out of there. Hard reset, baby. Why do all these politicians have dementia? We need to normalize people like AOC getting into politics around their 30s and 40s and then, like, leaving in their 60s and early 70s. Because I swear to God, like, most of the people in federal government are sundowning, okay? Most of our elected representatives. It's not good. It's not good, folks. It's not good. Yeah, Pelosi's like 80, dude. Holy shit. It's crazy.